Can't hear you. You're still on mute.
I think you might be muted there.
There you go. Welcome everyone to LunarCRUSH Live. I'm John Farjo. I'm with Sameep and Rock, which are co-founders of QuickSwap. We're going to dig into QuickSwap today. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having
John.
us.
Thanks for having us today, and it's our pleasure to be on, LunarCRUSH and discussing things with you. And yeah, waiting for it. So excited about it.
So sounds great. We unfortunately couldn't have our CEO on today. He was part of a dangerous softball accident last night. He's going to be okay. Has a little bandage on his face, so I'm going to fill in for Joe today. But let's start by, let me ask you, where in the world are you today? I see a great fish tank. I hope you're not under the sea somewhere.
I'm in Los Angeles right now.
Okay.
Cool. And I'm in New Delhi, India.
Nice. That's great. Very cool. Yeah, we're close by. We're in Orange County, so we'll have to stop by and say hi sometime, Rock.
Cool. Actually, we met you guys at some conference, maybe CIS or something, back in 2007. It could have been earlier. No, probably 2017. I think early 2017, maybe.
Yeah. So we launched LunarCRUSH 3 days before that conference. Yeah,
I want to say, I think you guys hadn't launched yet. I think we were talking to you guys, and then I think we saw you launch it. We're like, oh, those were, I think that we were thinking those were those guys we were talking to at the conference.
Yeah, it was us, and we've come a long way. I think if I recall that conference, we did have a very beta version of what we were working on, and we were shocked at how many people were asking us about if we had an API, exchanges and funds. They wanted to start integrating our data. And we kind of nodded our head because we were working on it, but we didn't have it ready yet. And so we've come a long way since then, and now there's a lot of exchanges and funds and developers using our API. So it's been fun. It's been a really exciting journey.
You guys have come a long way, man. You guys are just crushing it now. It's really cool. Pun intended.
Sure. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's been an amazing journey. And on that topic of journey, I would love to know your journey. I guess both personally, what led you to QuickSwap? How did it start? Tell us more about how you got where you are today.
Sameep, you want to start, or me, or?
Yeah, I'll start maybe, right? So yeah, I'll first would like to tell, a summary about myself, and then, maybe we'll be able to relate it to QuickSwap, right? So I'm a developer by heart. First of all, I would like to tell you, right? So core developer, hardcore developer, I would say, right? So I started my journey into blockchain in somewhere in 2017, if I remember it correctly. I think same month, it was May 2017, I guess, yeah. And we are still sitting in May, right? So it's almost 4 years now, right? So, and then I just started as a freelancer, right? So I was doing some, side projects, some kind of integration, some kind of smart contract development and all that stuff, right? So, and I did that for almost 3 years, I guess, right? And so I initially started on Ethereum, developing softwares on smart contracts on Ethereum, and I worked for companies like OpenBazaar, right? So OpenBazaar was one of the great companies. They recently shut down their operations, I guess, last October, but I was their main smart contract developer, right? So I worked with OpenBazaar, and I'm also part of Paraswap, right? So Paraswap is another great product. It's an aggregator. It's on Ethereum. They have recently launched on Polygon and on BSC as well. So one of the other cool projects that I'm working on, worked upon, right? So there my journey started into Ethereum, right? And from there on, when the gas prices started increasing on Ethereum, we started looking out for other platforms, right? So I remember somewhere in 2018, there was a conference in IIT Mumbai, right? Where there I met Anurag. So Anurag is another co-founder of Polygon, right? So there I met Anurag, and from there my journey into Polygon started. So basically I started working on Polygon before even their mainnet was launched, right? So I think, I'm one of their first users or first developers on their platform, right? So then I started working on a casino game. So there was a casino app known by the name of BadBit, right? So yeah, it's no longer exist, but yeah, it was there. So we launched BadBit Casino on Polygon, right? And it was one of the first apps on their mainnet. And since there, I started building relations with.
I remember that, by the way. I'm going to jump in really quick.
Almost. Did you play that? Did you play any?
No,
of the
I
games?
didn't play, but we were marketing for Polygon. At the time, I'm pretty sure we helped market it or do something with you. But I just wanted to jump in because it's so funny. Every I don't know, every few days you mention some project you worked on that I had no idea about. I swear, man. You've worked. Sameep must have worked on 20 or 30 projects or something, man. I still am learning about him.
Amazing.
Right, and
Amazing.
most of them are Polygon, and so from there my journey into Polygon started. All the founders of Polygon are also Indians, right? So started developing some personal relations, professional relations with all of them, right? So I like know Sandeep well, I know JD as well, I know Anurag as well, and like from there on, like we developed like so many projects on Polygon. And then suddenly last year, I remember in March, right, when the crypto boom started. So in March, last year, I guess each for is somewhere around 90 USD or something, if I'm not wrong, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember it correctly, it was 90 USD something in March. And since then, it has been a wonderful, exponential growth for, especially for Ethereum, right? And somewhere in August, the prices of Ethereum were very high, right? It was exponentially high compared to what it was in March, right? And the gas prices were high as well. So effectively, the cost of doing a transaction on Ethereum suddenly went up like 100 times, right? So from there on, the idea came, like this idea popped up that we need to do something, right? So it wasn't possible for a small trader, right, to do $100 trade or swap on Uniswap or on Balancer or any other AMMs which were there on Ethereum, right? Doesn't make sense. If I'm going to do $100 swap and I have to pay a $20 gas fee, that's almost 20%, right? And sometimes more than 20%, right? So it doesn't make sense for me to do that particular swap, right? So from there on, we started, figuring out what we can do basically to solve this particular problem, so that even a small trader can do these trades. It's not only big whales or big fishes who are enabled to use DEXs or these platforms, but small players should also do this. And from then we decided, we figured out we can do something very similar to Uniswap on Polygon, right? Which is much faster and much cheaper, right? So at that time, I think cost of doing 2,000 or 3,000 transactions was just $1, right? Because Matic prices were so low at that time, and like the gas price on Matic, that's still low, right? And was low at that time as well. So from there on, we discussed this with multiple people, and then I discussed this with Sandeep as well. That what do you think about this? Shall we do this or not? It's a good idea or not? And like basically he said it's a good idea, and you should definitely do this, because this is the first requirement, right? The first need for any blockchain to thrive, the DeFi ecosystem is AMM, right? Is a DEX. If DEX does not exist, if AMM doesn't exist, the DeFi can't thrive on that particular platform, right? And we wanted to make sure that the DeFi thrives on layer 2s, especially on Polygon, because on layer 1, it doesn't make sense for the small traders to use DeFi, right? So from there on, we started building team, right? So I came on board. Nick was there, right? Nick Mudge. He's also with Avegochi. I think most of the people know Nick. So he was there as well. He one of the initial founders. And then we onboarded LDA, especially Rock, from Lunar Digital Assets as our marketing advisors. And we started building QuickSwap. And since then, it has been a great journey so far. We launched in October. And today, May 27th, we are sitting at 1 billion plus to total value locked onto our platform. So yeah, wonderful journey so far.
Congratulations. That is amazing. That is, it's funny. We had Sandeep on this on LunarCRUSH Live about 7 months ago, and you could just see like his wheels were spinning. You could just see he knew this was all coming. And yeah. I'm just curious, like, when did the light bulb go off and say, hey, Ethereum's not going to scale, the fees aren't going to make sense? When was this? A year ago? When did you guys all start really feeling this? I think
it was it helps that we were around in the earlier days. I mean, even seeing back when, fees on Ethereum were under a penny at one point, right? And then we saw everything in 2017, the whole, crypto kitties clogging the blockchain, cats are clogging the blockchain. And then everyone after that died down, it seemed like everybody just kind of forgot about scaling. And, I guess that kind of goes to my journey into this, which was, I'm the CEO of LDA, Lunar Digital Assets. And so I met Sandeep in New York at Consensus, I want to say like over 2 years ago, about a little over 2 years ago. And I was blown away by his demeanor, his ethos, his values, the way he looked at everything. He was really like, he really struck me as one of these kind of like hardcore, really into the technology guys, and I had already known about Matic a bit. They were just kind of getting started, but I had heard from some tech friends that the tech was really good. And so I took one of my team members aside and was like, we got to land these guys. We got to land Matic, you know? And so I spent the next month, schmoozing Sandeep, trying to, and JD and Anurag. I think we met Anurag a month later in LA. I think we got them to sponsor the first ever blockchain gaming stage at E3 in LA, which our advisor Justin Wu had kind of created. But yeah, we saw it from the beginning that scaling was going to be a thing. Everybody forgot about it. We didn't forget. We knew this was going to be a really big part of the ecosystem. So we were with Polygon, you know, since the beginning, since the early days. And yeah, I'm just really glad to be here now. I'm glad that Sandeep introduced us, LDA, to Sameep and Nick, who are, you know, epic developers. And you know, they do the coding and the smart stuff, and we just, you know, LDA, we do the marketing and the business development, and you know, we use our network and kind of incubation type tools.
Well, okay, congratulations to you guys. Seriously, that's a massive success story. Just looking at the TVL and what you guys have accomplished in such a short time, it's amazing.
Thank you.
So, you know, maybe let's back up a little bit. You know, I've been in this space a long time. It always started with, there were centralized exchanges. We know all the names: Coinbase, Binance, Bittrex, Poloniex, way back in the day, et cetera, right? You know, and then the DEXs started to come in. You know, there's a lot of new people in crypto. If you guys maybe could back up and explain the difference between the centralized exchanges and the decentralized exchanges and why they're important, I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the ethos of the ecosystem is decentralized, right? And we've seen time and time again the problems with centralization. Even if you don't see the problems yet, you know, they will surface, whether it's too much power, and, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely, or hacks, you know, data, like we've seen with Equifax, and, you know, the biggest companies in the world are getting hacked, right? So at this point, you really can't trust your data to be anywhere. I don't care who the organization is, right? I don't care if it's the U.S. government. The U.S. government's been hacked many, many times. So I think for so many reasons, we just know decentralized is the way we have to go. We didn't know if it would work. The decentralized exchange idea was like, you know, a pipe dream at first. Who knew if it could actually handle the load? How are we going to do order books? The throughput isn't good enough. All these different things. And then really, Uniswap, in my opinion, really changed it all. There were some others working on it, but Uniswap really paved the way and really was the first DEX to find a way, this creative, you know, curve, this constant curve, and a way that you could have a way to fill orders of any size, you know, theoretically, with smaller amounts of liquidity. Now, you might get a huge amount of slippage, but you could fill technically any size order. You could do a $1 billion buy because it would just reach the top of the curve. And that was huge. We didn't need order books, which is just so different from everything we've seen in the traditional world. The idea that people will provide liquidity and be a buyer or seller at any price is something that if you told, you know, a traditional brokerage, they would say, what the hell are you talking about? That's not going to work, you know. But these, you know, genius developers found a way to make it work. And it might not be the most efficient system in every way, but it really doesn't matter. It works really well and people are happy with it. And we're improving on it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to add a couple of sentences to what Rob just said, right? Just a couple of sentences. I think that will explain the difference between DEX and CEX, right? So I think, you know, you like when it comes to DEX, you know, the entire DEX works on a smart contract, right? Just it's just like 2 or 3 smart contracts, and the entire DEX works on top of it. So as a user or as a liquidity provider, you know what's happening behind the scenes in a DEX. Everything is publicly open. You can go, you can do your own, you your own due diligence, your own research, and figure out, what that particular DEX is going to do, because you have a smart contract and that's deployed on the blockchain. It can't be changed, right? So basically, in a DEX, I know how that particular DEX is going to work, or how it's going to handle my funds, right? So I'm not giving my the custody of my funds to anyone. It's there on the smart contract. The rules are fixed. The business rules of the smart contracts are fixed. It can't be changed. Or if it can be changed, I know how it can be changed. Like who all the owners, if there are admin keys, whether it's a multi-sig, whether it's a DAO or what. So basically what I mean to say is, in DEX, everything is transparent, right? How it's going to work. But that's not true in case of CEXs, right? Or centralized exchanges. You don't know what's actually happening behind the scene. You just have to trust what the team tells you, right? So if they tell you that we are using a hardware wallet, we are using a cold wallet, you'll have to trust them. You'll only know that it wasn't a cold wallet, it was actually a hot wallet when they got hacked, let's say for $100 million or for a $200 million, right? So that's the biggest difference, and I think that's why people are more moving towards DEXs instead of centralized exchanges, because of the transparency on the DEX provides, I would say. Yeah.
And go ahead.
To add to that, just to kind of bring it, zoom out a little and think of it from a more, because I think we're getting a little deep, just assuming that everybody are DeFi degens and understand all this stuff. But to really kind of zoom out, you could think of it, as I like to think of DeFi and even Bitcoin and all these things as almost like a credit union on just code, right? Where everybody pitches in, we put our money in, and we all get lower rates and better things because it's owned by the people. And so, QuickSwap, Uniswap, is really cool because with Binance, for example, you've got CZ and his team they reap the rewards of all the fees, but in QuickSwap the people can go and anyone can provide liquidity and get trading fees, and so it makes all of us a little CZ, getting a little piece of the CZ pie. And I think that's just a really, really cool way to look at it. People don't understand how you could get APYs of 50, 100, 200%. QuickSwap are even on our pairs that have over 100 million in liquidity. So you'd think that the APY would be arbitraged out at this point, but even with over 100 million in liquidity in some of our pairs, we've still got between 100 to 300% APY, and some of that comes from our quick rewards, which you could argue is not sustainable because that's an inflation mechanism, and ours is meant to last 4 years. It could be voted to change it or stretch it out or whatever the community governance votes. But you could argue that's not sustainable, but the trading fees are. And we've seen that no matter how much the liquidity grows, we just passed $1 billion in TVL, and we still have these crazy APYs of 100 to even on some pairs around the 20 to 50 million range. 350% APY, and it's not being arbitraged out no matter how much liquidity comes because the volume keeps increasing. So the more the liquidity comes, the deeper the books, the deeper the pairs, the more the bigger people could come, the more the whales could come trade. So that trading fee APY is, at some point when the big institutions come in, and we've been talking to some, so we know they are here. It's surprising some of the people who have told us that they've provided liquidity. Right. Sameep, yeah.
That was quite surprising for us, yeah.
I'd love that. That sounds like some alpha leak right there. I'd love to hear some more about that.
That one we definitely cannot say yet,
sure,
but
sure.
We are playing with. I probably can say that we're playing with the idea of bringing on it. Are you shaking your head no, Sameep? Should I not say it? We're playing with the idea of bringing on
surprises for the community, right? Let's
We're playing with the idea of bringing on an advisor who, if I said his name, everyone here and everybody watching would know. I don't want to go any further, but yeah. So it's really cool. The people that have been reaching out to us, one of the largest VCs in the world reached out to us to invest, and we actually had to tell them that this is literally not just in crypto, in the world, who incubated projects like Google, not incubated, but invested in Google early, and most of the the biggest companies in the world. And we actually had to tell them we can't take an investment because we've never taken any investments. We haven't raised a single dollar, and we want to keep it that way. We like that this is a community-driven project. So, they were, I think, surprised that, we said that, but they actually took it really well. They were actually really impressed because there's not a lot of projects that when these people come to you, you say, we're sorry, we can't take your money. But we are working on a way to work with them and have them involved for sure. But we can't take investments, unfortunately. And it's been a lot of exchanges have been wanting to invest, and VCs, and even very famous people. And we want to keep it decentralized and for the community, by the community.
I think that's one of the biggest USP, right? Our tokenomics.
Yeah, zero funds raised. Not a lot.
Pretty wonderful, right? So 96.5% of all total supply of Quick goes to the community. Right? I'm not sure if any other project has done that before. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, but only 3. Yeah, sorry about that. Only 3.25% was distributed to the entire team and advising teams, including LDA and Matic as advising teams, and. Matic actually took 1%, but said, we're not taking this, we're giving this to the community. So we're going to be doing airdrop to Matic holders, stakers. We haven't decided the exact details, but we'd like to do that pretty soon. So 3.25% with zero funds raised. A normal project might raise, anywhere from 10 million to a couple billion in the case of EOS or something, and then they also keep 30 to 50% of the tokens, and we did not do that. All of the rewards go to the community, which is how the project, it started from almost nothing, market cap of almost nothing, because the community just came up with the price on their own from liquidity farming. That's how all the tokens came into existence, was through liquidity farming. And so the project is now up, 1,500x. So. Instead of a lot of projects where the VCs get early rounds, and even companies like mine, LDA, we get a lot of early rounds, and it's unfortunate, but it's kind of the game. If you know people, you get in early. But we didn't do that with QuickSwap. We decided to give all of the benefit to the holders, to the users, to the holders, to the liquidity providers. And it's been really cool. It's built an incredible community. I think we have, last I checked, almost 70,000 unique users in the last 30 days. And we've got more unique daily users than any project on Ethereum except for QuickSwap.
Right.
So I'd love to hear a little more on that, because I'd love to understand what kind of, so you talked about, we kind of talked about centralized exchanges moving into decentralized exchanges. You talked about Uniswap, and now we're having this evolution into speed and low fees. And you're obviously not having a liquidity problem with $1 billion in just a few weeks, really, in TVL. And it doesn't sound like that's ending anytime soon. So I'm curious, I guess, in this evolution, what kind of users are actually using QuickSwap, and even a DEX in general, versus the centralized exchanges? Is it more as people dive deeper, they kind of come more into the decentralized exchanges, or are you actually seeing people start with you, I guess, is one of the questions I have.
So I'll give you some stats to start with, right? So I prepared some stats specifically for this question. I know this was coming, right? So yeah. So first of all,
amazing.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to tell you, right? So like Rock said, we did not go for any investments kind of stuff, right? So everything that you see on QuickSwap is 100% organic, right? So the entire volume, all the TVLs, right? Everything is organic in nature, right? And that's why it's a big achievement for us, because getting $1 billion as TVL just through organic mechanisms, it's pretty hard to achieve, right, for anyone. So yeah, to start with, right now I think there are somewhere around 30,000 Quick holders, right? So basically 30,000 users hold Quick tokens, right? Apart from that, I have some informative stats, right? So Rock just said we had some 70,000 unique users in last 30 days, right? So there are two categories to it. The first, the unique users who visit your website. You basically go to the stats, see how it works. But and then there is another category who actually uses your website, right? So I'll give those numbers as well, right? So in last 7 days, Polygon had 34,000 unique active addresses. So basically addresses who actually do some transactions, right? So those are called unique active addresses. So in last 7 days, Polygon had 34,000, and QuickSwap alone had 13,000, right? So which means QuickSwap's share on the on all of the active addresses, unique active addresses in last 7 days on Polygon was 38%, right? So I mean, like, that's the amount of users that are using QuickSwap right now, right? And let me give you some more numbers as well, right?
So anyone who uses Polygon, there's a very high likelihood that,
right, that they use it.
Now they might be coming here for QuickSwap, or they might be coming for Aave or Curve, but at some point they're using QuickSwap in that time.
Right, that's true. That's true.
And what kinds of, I guess, what kind of coins do you see them specifically trading? Is there a pattern that you typically see? Are they going Matic to ETH? Are they going to stable coins? Are there typical patterns that you end up seeing?
So I mean, like, you have stats up right now, but go ahead.
Right, I'm doing that. So basically, you can go to our analytics page and you can figure it out yourself. But just to give you the numbers, let me tell you. So in last 24 hours, so we are seeing almost $200 million volume for Ethereum, like for ETH, $131 million volume for USDC, and $102 million volume for Matic, 29 million for USDT, right? So it's basically the native currencies, right? So it's not for Quick, it's not for any Matic specific currency, but the global currencies, right? And the pairs, if you talk about specific markets, so at the top of the list is USDC with $75 million, Matic with 57, BTC with ETH with 6 million, I guess, and USDT with 5, right? So I think most people are trading for, that they are basically using either ETH, either BTC, USDT, DAI, or Matic, right?
And a lot of those individuals are they using your liquidity pools? Are they kind of trading to add those pairs in? Do you see that typical pattern?
Another interesting stat I would like to share, right? So in a latest market crash, right? So Ethereum was like somewhere around $4,400 at ATH, all-time high, I guess, and right now it's like, what's the price? I think let me check. It's somewhere around 2,700, 2,800, right? So there's a very interesting pattern that we saw, right? So generally, what happens if price goes down, the TVL of the of the DEX goes down, because the TVL is decided by the price, right? So if I have 1,000 ETH deposited in my protocol, and the current price is like 1,000, and the TVL is according to that price. And if price goes down to 500, the TVL is according to that particular price, right? So basically, when price goes down or there's a market crash, the TVL goes down, right? But on QuickSwap, what we saw was, like, during this market crash as well, our TVL kept growing on, right? So which meant, there was a price impact because of the crash, but then also people or the liquidity providers, they kept adding more liquidity onto the platform, which means, our liquidity, it keeps on increasing. So right now, if market goes down to the all-time high, let's say ETH back to $4,400, possibly, QuickSwap will have $1.5 billion, right? So that was an interesting fact, where like people were, or the users were actually adding more liquidity even during the crash.
Yeah, even in the worst part of the crash, it's weird to see, like, not in US dollar terms necessarily, but US dollar was kind of staying steady, didn't lose much, but in terms of like amount of tokens, the amount of ETH, the amount of Bitcoin, etc., the numbers are still climbing. So it was people kind of I don't know, people on the Polygon side actually, it kind of ignored the crash anyways, largely. I mean, Polygon is at basically all-time highs. QuickSwap, we're at almost all-time highs too. So it's like we're in this weird world where people are like just doing their thing here on Polygon, and they're kind of ignoring the market in weird ways. It's weird because everyone's just super positive. I think there's so much growth, and Polygon is just on this crazy fiery rampage that no matter what the market does, everyone's just kind of happy right now because Polygon is succeeding so well, and so many of the community were here from the early days when, through all the adversity. I mean, Matic, we've been LDA, we've been with Matic since they were under 1 penny, and now they're at like $2.20, $2.30 or whatever. So over 250x on a pretty large size coin to reach, I think we just hit number 13, 13th largest coin in the world now, which is just such a, proud moment for the entire community.
Right.
It is. I am fascinated with the thought that when the market crashes, that people are adding more into DeFi. It's really interesting when you think of, what a year ago, what was locked up a year ago, like $1 billion, maybe something like that, across the whole ecosystem. And it's funny. I think we're like 60, 70, something like that billion today. When you imagine that expanding out further, and then you look at that as an increasing piece of the pie of crypto in general, that gets really interesting when you start to think about volatility. Because if you're already you're an LP and you are going to make money every day, every week, whatever that cadence is, you're a lot less likely to scalp something unless you can get more of that. And
Right.
so that becomes really interesting if you think of the whole DeFi pie expanding out. And volatility may decrease across the whole market because of that. That gets really interesting when you think about it. And plus, people feel part of the ecosystem versus just trying to make a day trade. It's going to be interesting.
Even in a bear market, people are going to be farming. They're going to be getting yields. I have a lot of friends who are talking about their strategy. If we go into a bear market, and a lot of people's strategy is farm, yield farm on stables, right? For a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge stables guy. I never have been. I've never really held any stables like for all my time in crypto. This time I'm considering going a little bit into stables. I'm not there yet, but maybe later in this coin. My stables are like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I'm more, that's my thing, is maybe move into those at some point, but always hold a good amount of Bitcoin, That's a pro tip. Always hold a good amount of Bitcoin. Be safe.
Always. What happened on April 25th? I'm looking at your info page. You were 137 million, and now you're just under $1 billion. And it's just been parabolic. So was there a specific event on the 25th? Was it a magic tweet that went out? What happened?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I think, so what happened, so a couple of DeFi protocols, they migrated from Ethereum to Polygon, right? And I think they did and it worked pretty well for us, I would say. So there were a lot of users who were associated with those, big protocols, and they knew nothing about Polygon. And when they came to Polygon, they started knowing more about Polygon, more about QuickSwap, and then they realized the yields that the QuickSwap is generating, right? And then they became the part of QuickSwap, right? So I think that was also another turning point, where we reached 1 billion from 100 million, right? So
when did
roll off those protocols? Aave, I think they came
that, right? Aave was like
mid-April or early April, if I'm not wrong, yeah. So they came somewhere in early April, I guess. Early weeks of April.
So that was really, we got to give credit to Aave, because they were one of the first really big protocols to take the plunge. And once they came over, everyone followed. Everyone was like, okay, if Aave's developers think this thing is safe, if Aave thinks this is the way to scale, they didn't choose optimistic rollups, right? They didn't choose, XDAI or going to another chain, Binance chain or whatever. They chose Polygon. And that spoke really loudly to the world, the entire Ethereum community, that you can stay on Ethereum. You don't have to go somewhere else. You can stay here on Ethereum and get scaling now. And when Aave did that, just everybody started following, right? Curve and Paraswap and 1inch. It's been really good.
So you guys at the end of April.
Thank you, Aave, for taking the leap.
So it was Aave end of April that did this. You guys went from 137.
They were
to
like
500.
early April, or maybe even sooner. Or was it? Maybe it was April 10th off the top. I could be wrong.
Man, were you guys freaking out just watching your TVL just go like an arrow straight up? 4x in a week, that's amazing.
It's a crazy, very, very like, crazy times for us, for me, like for Rock, every day. Sometimes what happens, like, he calls me early in the morning. Did you see this? This just happened. We just breached this. Did you see this? I mean, like, oh, yeah.
Those are the
It's amazing.
best times
Yeah.
ever as a startup. That's amazing.
So basically we needed audience, right? We needed like the correct audience to look at us, right? That's what we were missing, before April, some like in March or like when we started. And like these protocols like Aave, Curve, Sushi, they gave us the audience, right? They gave us the exposure, right? And when people know about QuickSwap, I mean, like I'm 100% sure you can't resist yourself to use QuickSwap. And if you use QuickSwap once, you can't go away. You'll use it again, and again. That's the feedback that we have, like, we have seen so far from the people.
I'd love to hear more about that. So, I mean, like you've got this organic product that was built from the ground up. The community just took it over. And I guess, how do you see that in your promotional and community building efforts? Like, how do you leverage that to grow? Is it them and word of mouth, or are you guys doing certain specific things to kind of drive more individuals into your platform?
A lot of it is education. Like you said, once you try it, you're stuck, especially, we started, I think you asked about the type of user earlier. So we started, I think, with smaller users, people who wanted to do a $5 trade. I remember watching the transactions early on, back in, September of last year, and seeing people trading 13 cents.
50 cents.
50
yeah,
cents,
like 15
$1,
cents. I even saw
that. It was like most of our trades were micro trades, and I don't know if that was maybe, Polygon has a large Indian community, and maybe they're doing smaller trades because it's more of a less developed country. But then it started growing, and at first that's all you really could do with small trades because there wasn't a lot of liquidity. Getting to that first, like he said, just getting to $1 million in liquidity, that was a huge, it was hard, because the first liquidity, liquidity begets liquidity. Well, if you don't have any liquidity, you're not begetting anything. Nobody's coming because there's nothing to do. So getting to that first $1 million was really important. We should also give a shout out to Aavegotchi, who was they really helped in our, so like Aave was the get us from, 100 million to, $1 billion, they helped us kind of bootstrap there. But Aavegotchi was a really important part of that, which Nick, one of our founders, was part of that team. So he brought them, and they took the earlier leap of faith. They were going to launch on Ethereum and then maybe do part on Polygon. But then they just realized minting these NFTs and their gamification of DeFi, really fun project. But they just realized it just wasn't possible on Ethereum. So they just said, you know what, we're doing this as a fully Polygon native thing, and they needed a place to trade. And we were the closest thing to that, even though we weren't, we had no liquidity yet. We were in the like hundreds of thousands of liquidity or less, and I think when they came on, we climbed to, they brought themselves and their community brought maybe like close to $1 million or more over the coming months. And then we got to, 10 million in liquidity, and that's when things started kind of picking up. A lot of small projects started coming to us, a lot of Polygon native projects. The Polygon team's been really helpful. They've sent a lot of projects our way, but on a very regular basis, they pretty much just send any projects that are on Polygon. They're like, hey, go talk to QuickSwap, And so at first we were catering to very small traders, very small projects, kind of similar to what Binance did long ago. Was like you could trade like weird tokens there that you couldn't get other places on Coinbase and things. And that was kind of their bread and butter, was catering to these niche communities. And so we kind of followed that path too. And then over time, you kind of start growing into the bigger communities, bigger traders, bigger projects. And So yeah, props to Aavegotchi for also taking that leap of faith. They were very early and trusting that we could execute. And that really helped early on.
So from a marketing perspective, what are some of the strategies you guys have in place?
A lot of education, just getting people to see the project. we talk to a lot of influencers. That's a big part of it, is making sure influencers know what we're doing and asking them, hey, can you just try us one time? And if you try us one time, there's so many influencers where they tried it and they were like, wow, this is actually really cool. And then they tell their whole community about it. We don't have to pay them, and they'll just go tell their entire communities and just bragging about, the user experience on Polygon.
Well, we will be tracking that going forward, since we just recently added QuickSwap on LunarCRUSH. And I'll tell you, in the future, we actually have a portal tool that lets you update your about information. But in the future, you're going to have a lot more analytics that you're going to be able to access in there. It'll be really interesting to see what you guys are seeing with usage patterns in the app, and what we're seeing with the community. And we'll be able to track those top influencers for you anyways. So
very
you'll see
excited
some
for that.
really great activity there.
You guys were, oh no, that wasn't QuickSwap. That was for Polygon. We were watching, I was watching, shout out to Miss Natoshi, one of the top influencers for Polygon for a while now. I was looking at that. Yeah, really, really cool to see all the, it's really cool to see, by, rank of which influencers are, being most involved. Really cool.
So
you guys have some really cool tools.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And what we really love to see is organic growth over time. I mean, there's a lot of times that projects will hire an influencer for a little while and then they go away. We can see that. It's obvious. But what's really interesting is when when social is baked into your user experience, and at like certain specific interaction points, users are sharing content out of your application. And then over time, like when we start to see this organic growth and we see it grow, it's just fascinating. Matic, just like mind blowing what we've been seeing over the past few months. I mean, even again, since we talked to Sandeep 7 months ago versus today, just shocking. But I'd say 7 months ago, you could see that fees were going to be an issue.
Right.
And he just happened to be there to catch it. He put himself right in the middle of the train tracks, waiting for it to all come to him, and did the perfect job, it looks like. So, right. Amazing. A couple other questions I wanted. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So to add to what Rob just said, from the marketing perspective, we have a great community as well, right? So even, the community is a great marketing tool for us, right? And like it's working fantastic for us. So, we have seen users, like community members, creating tutorials for us, that's wonderful, in different languages, like someone creating in French, someone creating in in Chinese, another one in Arabic, and like there were so many tutorials out there, and we created not even a single one, right? So honestly speaking, so far we have not created even a single tutorial for QuickSwap. Everything is done by the community, right? So community is also one of the, I would say, one of the biggest marketing tool, and that's why I always say QuickSwap is growing organically, is growing through community.
I will correct you there, just to give some credit. There were some people from our side that actually did do some did a couple tutorials. So we got to give some credit, like Nicole and Aztec and yeah. But most of it's the community now.
And so on that community, that community is acquiring the Quick token. Tell us a little bit more about the use of Quick.
Why not?
Sameep,
Yeah, of course, why not? Like the first and foremost, like the base utility of the token is governance, right? So we have started moving towards governance, right? And we are using snapshots for early governance votes, and we also did one of the votes a few months back, I guess, and that was basically to enable Dragon Slayer, right? And like other utilities, there are like more utilities to Quick token as of now, and like two major of them are, the first one is basically there are liquidity mining is going on QuickSwap, right? So there are certain LP pairs which we reward specifically. Right now there are 80 different pairs which are getting rewards on QuickSwap, right? And some of them are Quick pairs, right? So like there is Quick ETH pair getting rewards, and there is Quick Matic pair, and then there is Quick Aave pair, I guess, and like many Quick pairs are out there, right? So the first utility of Quick token is, so Quick holders basically can provide liquidity in these pools and then stake those LP tokens and start generating or earning more Quick, right? So that's the first utility. Now the second utility is Dragon Slayer, right? And it doesn't deal with impermanent loss. The first one deals with impermanent loss because we are providing liquidity in a pair, but this one doesn't, right? So there's a cool concept called Dragon's Lair, right? So all of us know that there is a trading fee on any AMM or DEX, right? So on QuickSwap, that fee is 0.3%. So out of those 0.3%, 0.25% fee goes to the liquidity provider, right? Because it's their right. And now out of remaining 0.05%, 0.4% fee goes to the Dragon's Lair, and 0.01% fee goes to the QuickSwap's foundation wallet, which we use for marketing and development, right? So 0.04% fee, which is going to the Dragon's Lair, is actually being converted into Quick, and then it goes to the Dragon Lair. So suppose if I have deposited X amount of Quick tokens today, and all the fees that is being currently generated on QuickSwap, extra amount of Quick tokens are being deposited onto the Dragon's Lair. So effectively, my share increases over a time. So what happens? I deposit Quick, and I get back in return D-Quick tokens. So those are another ERC20 tokens, right? So when I deposit Quick, I get D-Quick. And over the time, the value of D-Quick appreciates depending on the total trading volume onto the platform. So those, like, these two are like, including governance, there are 3 utilities which Quick has right now, but we are planning to add more, fun-loving liquidities in the future as well. We're discussing this with the partners, advisors, and within the team, but there will be soon more utilities out there for the Quick token.
Amazing. And the distribution of these tokens, is it over what period of time? I know you said 3.25% earlier. Instantly. So everything's the circulating supply.
Token.
He's talking about the total supply.
I thought you meant Dragon's Lair, which is the staking. No, the team tokens is 18 months.
18 months.
So it's vested over 18 months.
Wow, it's amazing, and it's a lot more flexible when you didn't have any initial investors or anything like that. That is fascinating what you're going to end up doing.
Well, and it makes us really hungry too, because we didn't start with any money.
Right.
Actually, my company LDA, we have 1% of that 3.25, and I told my team and I told the public, and our wallets are public. I told everyone. I told my team, look, guys, if you want to work on QuickSwap, because we have other clients too, you can work on those clients, or you can help with QuickSwap. If you think there's a good chance it'll succeed, it might not. We might get nothing, because I said we're not selling anything unless this thing succeeds big time. If it just kind of peters out or does like a medium success, we're not selling a token. And so for the first, we've been out like 8 months. We didn't sell a single token or even distribute a token to our team. So our team worked for free, basically, for up until, I don't know, like 3 weeks ago. Or maybe a month ago or something, I finally distributed tokens to the team and gave them the choice. If you want to sell your tokens, fine. If you want to, but mostly everybody just said they want to stake them. So that was the main reason I distributed them, was, okay, this staking is like really high APY, like between 50 to 80%, and you could earn more quick. So I was like, okay, everybody was bugging me like, come on, can we get our tokens? We're not going to sell them. We just want to stake. So we finally distributed, and that distribution was only 11% of our entire 1%. So it's a very, very small amount. And my personal amount of that, it was like 400 and something tokens for, my 8 or 9 months of work, and I have not sold a single one still. So, and I actually, in the early days of the project, when the price was crashing and going, like, because some knucklehead put it on, added the ratio at like, I don't know, $50 or something for the token when it first started. And so it just kind of went down till it found a base. And in that time it was going down, I just kept buying tokens with my personal funds. And I bought a lot. I kind of was looking at it as, okay, I might just lose all this money, but I really wanted to like kind of just support the project. So I got lucky and it 1500x. So I'm happy, and I still haven't sold a single one of those tokens either. So
that's amazing, and that's the second example in this call where DeFi prevents selling. It's just too much opportunity with passive income to just try and scalp and go back to what US dollars to do what with it, like to buy more nonsense, or do you want passive income that could last for a very long time? But it's amazing. I love hearing your story. I think you were on. We had a Twitter space yesterday. Was that you on yesterday on the QuickSwap account?
No, I think that was Dave. Probably
might have been Dave. Okay, They didn't say their name. I wasn't sure who it was, but he was getting bombarded. There was a couple people that came on that were doing a bunch of feature requests, and they were asking for all these features and this and that. I'd be curious, what kinds of things are you getting requests for, and what might the community look forward to?
I think, and Sameep, I think would agree here. I know he would agree. The most important thing is user experience. Right now, Sameep, can I say? Let me telegram you.
Yeah, of course, you can say that. Of course, you can say that.
Oh, I can't. Okay. So
yeah.
We are actually in the midst of doing a full redesign of our entire user interface and user experience. We think this is the most important thing to do. Some people who've been talking to us, some very smart people have recommended we do this. One of the ones that we're thinking about bringing on as an advisor, and so we think this is the most important thing. We've already done a lot to make the user experience better. Actually, when we first started, it was kind of terrible.
It was hard even for us to use it, right? So that was the level of UX when we first started, right?
Yeah,
so,
it was.
Yeah,
the bridge was not so clean. The Polygon bridge. When you would bring tokens over, you didn't have any matic, so you had no gas. So you now would have to do another transaction to bring over gas. Or luckily, our community is really helpful. And anytime someone asks, "Oh, I don't have any gas," someone in the community will DM me your address, and I'll send you some free gas. But there was that. There was there was a lot of things that we made better. So let's see, we added the faucet, and then matic helped with that. Then let's see, bridge. I don't know. Help me, Sameep. We did like 10 things to just make it usable.
I still remember,
we thought when we were just going to fork Uniswap, and it would be like, oh, it's easy, and the code, it was easy to fork. That's one great thing about Polygon. But like the user interface, the user experience, getting people onto L2, educating people about how to get onto L2, it was a nightmare at first. Luckily now that Polygon is much better because there's so much mainstream coming now. Like Gnosis Safe just came. There was already, Gnosis Multisig, but all these tools are coming now. Etherscan. Is this public, Sameep? I think he froze. I'm not sure if this is public information. I'm going to just gamble, though. Etherscan is coming now to Polygon. I hope that's public information. But that'll be really cool because right now the Matic Explorer is not perfect. It's not ideal, but when Etherscan comes, it'll be that'll be really cool because everybody's used to Etherscan. Sameep, could you hear me there? I don't know if
I can. So just to add to that, right? I would like to add a few points to it. So I still remember, it was my wedding anniversary and I was on vacation with my wife, and Rock called me somewhere in the middle of like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. This is not working. We need to fix this. I was like, yeah, we will do this. So, since then, it was always in my mind that we need to fix this UX, right? And right now, when Rock said we are going to redesign UX, we are going to redesign UI. So we are not sure. So that's what our plan is, right? We just don't want to redesign how QuickSwap works, but we want to redesign how AMM works, right? Because right now, if you go to any AMM, the UX is not that good for a new user or for a user who is not very familiar with DeFi, like be it any AMM at the moment, not just QuickSwap.
Even the best ones, even the ones that want the best are
exactly. Right. So we want to fix that. We want to fix how AMM works or the user experience of the entire AMM industry, right? So that's like what we are planning to do, and our entire design effort is basically focused on that particular thought process.
Yeah, making it so you could. We want it to be as clean as like Robinhood, something that simple where you don't have to know that you're on layer 2. You don't even have to know you're on Ethereum. You don't have to go to a block explorer to check your stuff, or go to some other analytics website to check your stuff, or our analytics website. Everything will be there. It'll be simple. It'll be intuitive. So we think this will be. It's probably there's a lot of things we can do with features, and there's a lot of features we can change without changing our code. Because for now, we don't want to change the code. We don't want to change the core code. It's Uniswap through and through. Not a single line change, not a single dot or circle or anything. Nothing changed, and we want to keep it that way for security, because security always has to be the most important thing over everything else.
Right.
So we are looking at things for our V2. Also, I don't think we've said that before. Oh, sorry, someone's calling me.
But just to add to that, we haven't changed our code base, but for the smart contracts, right? Because the security comes from the smart contracts. But we have done some changes into the front end code, right, into the analytics page and all that stuff in the subgraph. But yeah, the smart contracts still remains the same, the one which is being used by Uniswap V2. Yeah, please continue, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we could add other features to the core code, and there's some cool things we have in mind for our V2, but at the moment, that's not priority. We were starting to prioritize that, but we decided that the user experience UI is much more important. And if we could get to 1 billion TVL, and our peak volume was 880 million in a day. That was like a few days, 4 days ago during the crash or whatever, 5 days, 6 days, whatever that was. But if we can get there and have this many users, with the way our user experience is now, which is still, it's to me one of the best in the industry, but the industry is not looking at this like we need to design something like Apple would, like Robinhood would, something where people just, it's super easy, it's fun, it's clean, my mom can use it. There's no way my mom is using QuickSwap right now. She owns Quick because she asked me to buy it for her. I told her, Mom, you got to get in on this, Mom. It's going to be big. But she can't actually use the app, right? She couldn't use Uniswap. She can kind of use Coinbase. That they've done pretty good job at it. But DeFi has a long way to go, so we want to kind of I don't want to say reinvent it, but make big improvements on it for our new UI.
Love hearing that. UX, it's going to become a UX game as everything, from an external perspective starts to sound similar in a sense. Like the marketing message on so many of these projects, it sounds like, wait a minute, I'm confused which one I use. It ultimately is going to come down to the UX. So I'd love to see what you guys are working on. I'm happy to volunteer my time to test what you guys are working on, because I think it's really great.
You guys have a great UI, by the way, LunarCRUSH.
Oh, wait till you see what we're working on. That's always the comment from our head of product, isn't it? But we've done, we have people that were, leading UX at Google before and things of that sort. I've led UX for software companies, automotive, all sorts of stuff. So we're heavily focused on it. What you see right now is just V1. We are actually, I'll give a little leak here. We're deep working into version 2. Which is going to have a lot more mobile focus. So it's going to be interesting.
Looks like we'll have to take some tips from you related to UX, because your UX is pretty good.
Happy to. So we are at an hour here. So I'll just ask one last thing. What would you like to leave our users with today?
Okay. So I just want to say this to our users as a closing note. So guys, the entire purpose of creating or developing QuickSwap was to enable our users to do small trades, right? To enable our users to do trades without thinking about fees, without thinking about anything. They just come to the platform and trade freely, right? That was the entire purpose of the QuickSwap, right? And that's what we are focusing as right now as well. That's why we are more focused on UX than launching a V2, right? Whereas all other projects in the industry, they focus on launching V2, a new set of functionality and feature, but we are planning to improve UX so that the entire focus is on the community, right? So I would like to ask this to everyone out there, guys, come try QuickSwap, and we would love to have your feedback, right? So I still remember a few days back, I posted a message onto the community that, I'm looking for the feedbacks, I want to improve the UX, UI of the interface, and I got so many DMs, after posting that particular message that Sameep, I want to give honest feedback, but I want to understand how serious you are on working this, because I just don't want to waste my time. I told them, don't worry, you give us your feedback and we'll definitely work on it, and we are taking all those feedbacks very seriously, right? So even we got feedbacks from some of the very biggest players in the industry. I won't name them, but we got mails from people who are like very, very big players, I would say, and giving their feedback. So at this point of time, we want all the support we can get from the community, because this is a community run project, right? It's not a investor run project. I can proudly say that this project is not governed or run by any investor, right? It's run completely by the community, right? So this is what I want from the community. Like I would, as a last word, I would say the community, come forward, participate in the QuickSwap's development, participate in its, in its UX design and everything. Just last few sentences. I still remember there was a subgraph issue, right? So it's a very known issue in QuickSwap industry, right? In QuickSwap world, I would say. So anybody who has been with QuickSwap for some time, they must know that there is a graph issue where our analytics wasn't
terrible.
Working, right? It was terrible, right? And I was amazed to see we were not able to, fix that quickly. There were a few developers or like few CTOs who were part of the QuickSwap community. They came to us and they basically helped us, right, fix this issue, right? So that's the level of commitment that we have from the community in QuickSwap, right? I'm not sure whether any other project has that level of commitment, right? So yeah, I just want to say to the community, just do whatever you are doing, and it's wonderful. It's working for us, for the entire community.
Yeah, and I was going to say something similar. I just want to thank the community. A kind of similar note. This 1 billion TVL is not us. This is the community.
Right.
No matter how much work we can do, we've got a community of 70,000 people out there that are doing great work to spread the word, and this wouldn't be possible without all of them. Also thanks to our team, everybody who works on this. He was mentioning people helping with the subgraph issue, Paul was helped a lot with this. We've got people like Tom from APY Vision helping with analytics, and even he was helping me analyze which wallets, which projects we're dumping early on, and all kinds of things to try to figure out where we can incentivize better. Jake from SportX, all these different projects. I mean, Polygon more than anyone has just helped us so much with kind of lending us devs or just listening to us about user experience things and how to make things better. Everyone on the LDA team who are basically part of the QuickSwap team and an extension of the team. Nicole, Dave, Aztec, Crypto Secret Circle, Shane, Joe, Jack. I don't want to name everyone, but all these different people. Our new BD team, who I don't know if we've announced publicly, but they've been working for a while, so we got to get those announcements out. But we've got Tyler and Rocky, Joe, and all the different community managers, Lev, Lieutenant Recht, Tyler and Rocky again, and Oleg, Dan, Luo, all these different people. So just thank you everyone for all the great work, and especially to the community. We are all the community. Me and Sameep are the community too.
Right.
We're part of the community.
I mean, see, we are at 1 billion TVL today, right? And a huge volume without any funds raised, and we are still able to reach here, right? It's not possible until a lot of people help us, a lot of community members help us. Not possible without funds, right? You can't build such a big product. You can't do enough marketing without funds, right? Even if it's just about marketing, right? So that's why I say, we did all the marketing. LDA is it's a wonderful team, I would say, right? I haven't met a great marketer than Rock. No one is there out there. I think Nicole is doing great job, Dave is doing great job, wonderful. So yeah, again, we are just here because of the community. We did the work, but again, it's just because of the community. Otherwise we would not have been here, because there was no means for us to actually achieve this, right? Unless community helps us.
I'm just reading the comments here.
There's some good stuff in here. Very active, especially on YouTube.
Yeah, very
Rock
cool.
Sameep, thank you so much for coming by today. To all the thousands of people that have been watching this, that we've been seeing here, thanks for stopping by. We got some great streams ahead as well. I'm not saying anything today, but keep your eye on LunarCRUSH. We get a lot of stuff coming too. So thank you so much, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for hosting us. Nice talking to you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thanks, Mom.
See you soon.